Imagine a world where one man could change the entire course of human history. A world where ambition, brilliance, and ruthless determination could transform an entire civilization. This is the story of Julius Caesar, a name that has echoed through centuries, a man who was part politician, part military genius, and entirely extraordinary. Let's travel back to ancient Rome, a time of complex political intrigue, where power was the ultimate currency and survival was never guaranteed. Born into a noble but not particularly wealthy family in 100 BCE, Julius Caesar would defy every expectation and rewrite the rules of Roman society. Picture a young Caesar surrounded by the bustling streets of Rome. Unlike many of his aristocratic peers who were content with comfortable lives, he burned with an unquenchable desire to make his mark. His early years were a masterclass in strategic thinking. He understood that in Rome, reputation was everything. Caesar's first major breakthrough came not through military conquest, but through political cunning. He formed what historians call the First Triumvirate, a strategic alliance with two other powerful Romans, Pompey and Crassus. Think of it like a high-stakes political poker game, where Caesar was always 3 moves ahead of his opponents. But Caesar wasn't just a political manipulator. He was a military commander who would become legendary. His conquest of Gaul, modern-day France and Belgium, wasn't just a military campaign. It was a masterpiece of strategy and leadership. Imagine leading an army through unknown territories, facing constant threats, and not just surviving, but expanding the Roman Republic's boundaries. During these campaigns, Caesar did something unprecedented. He didn't just fight, he wrote. His commentaries on the Gallic Wars were part military report, part personal memoir. It was like having a front-row seat to history, narrated by the man making that history. This wasn't just documentation, it was brilliant self-promotion. His military success made him immensely popular with soldiers and citizens alike. But in Rome, popularity was a double-edged sword. The Senate, threatened by his growing influence, saw him as a potential dictator. The political tension was like a powder keg waiting to explode. The famous moment came in 49 BCE when Caesar made a decision that would change everything. Crossing the Rubicon River with his army was more than a geographical movement. It was a declaration of war against the Roman establishment. "The die is cast," he famously said, knowing full well this action meant civil war. And a civil war it was. Caesar defeated Pompey, his former ally turned rival, and became the most powerful man in Rome. But absolute power, as they say, corrupts absolutely. He was appointed dictator, and many senators feared he wanted to become a king, something Romans fundamentally despised. On the Ides of March 44 BCE, everything came to a dramatic conclusion. Brutus, Cassius, and a group of senators who saw themselves as defenders of the Republic assassinated Caesar. Imagine the shock, the betrayal, the political earthquake that this moment created. But here's the fascinating twist. Caesar's death didn't end his legacy, it amplified it. The very act meant to diminish him turned him into an immortal legend. His adopted heir Octavian would become Augustus, the first Roman emperor, fundamentally transforming the political system Caesar had challenged. What can we learn from Julius Caesar? That true leadership isn't about titles, but vision. That strategic thinking can overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. That one person with enough determination and skill can indeed change the world. Caesar wasn't just a historical figure. He was a complex human being, brilliant, flawed, ambitious, and ultimately tragic. A man who understood power wasn't just about conquering territories, but about capturing imaginations. Thank you for joining me on this journey through one of history's most fascinating lives. If you enjoyed this exploration of Julius Caesar, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. What historical figure would you like to hear about next?